to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. We're coming to you live from Miami at Exchange and ETF Experience, where we're meeting with the top thought leaders and innovators in the ETF space. Joining me for this segment, we have Bobby Barnes. He's the head of Quantitative Index Solutions at Fidelity Investments, and we're going to learn the role of quantitative investing and what it plays into with thematic investing. Bobby, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
Give us an overview of what quantitative investing is.
Sure, yes. I always like to first just take a step back and demystify it. It can be pretty nebulous for many people. And so one way to think about quantitative investing is it simply entails finding those characteristics of stocks that lead to outperformance over time. And so one intuitive one would be that there are many investors who look for stocks that have higher margins or profits than their competitors. We in the quant space call that quality, and so there are many investors, including Fidelity, that have been investing in that way for a very long time. Now, where quant comes into play is that desirable characteristics like this, we're able to use software and technology to find these desirable companies on a much broader scale than you would otherwise be able to do. And so that's generally what quantitative investing is. As you mentioned, I am the head of our Quantitative Index Solutions group. And so my team has a mission that's twofold. It's one, to develop proprietary indices that cover equities, fixed income, digital assets, and multi-asset solutions. And the other part of our mission is to design these indices in a way that allows our shareholders to get efficient access to plain vanilla beta exposures, say like the US large cap equities, or carve out interesting, unique exposures via factors, thematics, or investment solutions that target a very specific investment outcome. And so, all those things haven't been said, even though they are indices, we do leverage the insights of our active managers from both a fundamental and quantitative perspective. And so when describing the indices that my team develops, I like to describe them as active by design, but passive by implementation.
Right, and let's talk more about that, because thematic investing, whether it's ESG or getting exposure to digital assets or meta, whatever the theme du jour is, it's very top of mind for investors. How does quant play a role in that?
Yes, so quant plays a huge role. As you mentioned, it is very topical, thematics. We're seeing tremendous interest from a variety of investors, but particularly the young investors are quite interested in it. And they're also looking for ways to align their investments with their personal interests, values, and beliefs. And so quant has played a critical role in reinforcing Fidelity's ability to innovate and to provide these customer needs. One expression of that would be what we call our thematic engine. And so that's a process that was created via a collaboration among our quants, our data scientists, and importantly, our fundamental investors. And so all these minds came together to create this thematic engine. And it's a unique solution in that Fidelity has a deep history of active management. And so this is not a black box kind of system where no one really understands the inputs or the outputs. We are leveraging the industry expertise of our investors to help inform how to build this engine so that you can kind of create these pure exposures to a variety of themes. And so that's ultimately the byproduct of all of this, is that we're able to produce stock lists of companies that are exposed to a given theme, but they're more purely exposed than you would otherwise get. And the last point I'll make on that, and this is a very important one, is that again, leveraging our expertise in active management, there are some stocks that will be exposed to a theme, but you actually don't want them because they have exposure in a way that they are being disrupted as opposed to being the disruptor.
That's a great point, and I'm glad you brought that up, because at the top you had mentioned that your team creates indices, but to your point, Fidelity is really known for active management, so I thought it was encouraging to hear you say how quant fits in with this, where it's not fundamental, us versus them, and the quants. So quant really does fit in there at the end of the day when you think about these innovative products.
Yes, absolutely.
And so what's next for the quantitative investing team, your team?
Well, as we look ahead, we're going to continue to innovate. We're always focused on creating solutions for our advisors and our retail clients. I would say that broadly speaking, when I look at our strategy for the indices that we develop, we're ultimately trying to offer advisors better building blocks And those building blocks can take the form of, as we mentioned, factor portfolios or thematic portfolios or portfolios that target an investment, specific investment outcome like inflation. But that being said, once those building blocks are in place, that will allow advisors, for example, to have more precise control over the risk return profiles of their clients' portfolios.
All right, Bobby, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.